We have some crazy news that broke regarding the Ripple XRP case because it's not over. It is not over. However, if you've been watching the show, you know we talked about this. So the part of the lawsuit that is over is between Ripple and the SEC. But Judge Torres still needs to decide what she wants to do regarding the settlement. Two key things in the settlement: the $125 million fine, which the SEC decided to just essentially let Ripple settle for $50 million, and then Ripple's ability for institutional sales of XRP. And again, if we're talking about institutional sales of XRP, if Ripple is not allowed to participate in an institutional XRP sales in the United States of America, it essentially kind of destroys their business model. So that's where things get a little bit problematic. However, this isn't the end of the world. Remember when we also talked about the Ripple case is one of the most important crypto cases ever, primarily because it's going to set precedent moving forward, especially with case law. That's exactly what's happening. And that's why Judge Torres is going to take her time with this. She's going to take her time. She's going to make sure that she makes the right move in regards to the lawsuit, because this case is so massive, it's going to set precedent. So we're going to talk a little bit about that. We've also got some Bitcoin news, all kinds of things. So make sure you guys stick around. I am back home. We'll do a little bit of a quick little market update. As always, you guys, I'm going to be at Bitcoin 2025. So if you were going to be at Bitcoin 2025, make sure to come see me. They're going to give me a little bit of a booth so I can chat with you guys, all kinds of stuff. But more importantly, if you use my code, you get to save 10% off tickets, and they're going to continue to increase. The code is WendyO, and you save 10%. I remember just a couple weeks ago, the whale pass was only like, I think, $8,000, and they increased it to $12,000. So again, make sure you guys check it out if you're going to be around. I will be there. Now let's get straight into the XRP Ripple case, because this is important. And again, even though XRP is not the first, the most popular crypto by market cap as of right now, it is the most popular crypto in the entire industry. All right, so let's go ahead and talk about that. Show my armpit. No, that's weird, you guys. All right, let's get straight into it. Don't be weird, because I black people. Why not? So Judge Torres rejected the joint SEC Ripple motion to reduce Ripple's penalty from $125 million to $50 million and lift an injunction. The injunction was to stop Ripple from further violations of securities laws offering or selling XRP to institutional investors without registration. The issue that we saw in the last few years under the previous leadership at the SEC is they claim that you can come in and register and talk to the SEC. And that wasn't the case. That was not the case any way, shape, or form. So it was impossible for crypto companies to come in and register. Now, back to it. Case is now on appeal, so Judge Torres lacks jurisdiction to approve it. The court said the motion improperly sought relief from a final judgment without citing Rule 60. So Judge Torres is playing by the books here. And I think the reason why she's doing this is not to necessarily cause harm against Ripple or to cause harm against the XRP army, but more so to make sure she's following procedure, because she understands how important this case is moving forward. You have to understand, we don't have any case law. We don't have any precedent regarding the SEC going after crypto companies to the extent that they went after Ripple. So this is why they are taking their time. It sucks for the army. It sucks for the community. But once this is done, and completely done, it's done, okay? Now, back to Rule 60, what is it? Rule 60 requires exceptional circumstances to modify or remove a judgment which the parties failed to demonstrate. Ripple's previous wins remain unchanged. Ripple and the SEC plan to revisit the issue together later. Before we get into a statement from Stuart, who is the CLO of Ripple, I just want to tell you how bullish it is. The fact that the SEC is going to work with a company they sued to get a resolution on this case. Under Gensler, we wouldn't have saw anything like this happen. Under Paul Atkins, we're seeing that. So the fact that the SEC is going to work with Ripple to get this over with, that's outstanding. I'm excited. That is immensely bullish. Should you be buying XRP right now? That's a personal choice. It's really a personal choice, but honestly, like this is exciting. It's exciting stuff. And yes, I'm a little bit of a nerd when it comes to that. Also, make sure you guys smash a like, etc. Now let's go ahead and see what Mr. Stuart Alroy had to say. He is the CLO for Ripple. He said, nothing in today's order changes Ripple's win, i.e. XRP is not a security, which again is very, very important. This is about procedural concerns with the dismissal of Ripple's cross appeal. Ripple and the SEC are fully in agreement to resolve this case and will revisit the issue with the court together. Together. Do you understand how bullish it is that the SEC is willing to work with Ripple to go to court and say, hey, let's do X, Y, and Z? We're going to get a resolution. It's going to take a little bit of time. I understand you guys are super frustrated, and you have a right to be frustrated. But at the end of the day, we are getting there. It's coming to an end, and we just need to remain positive. And I also want to shout Ripple out for really just kind of sticking up for the entire industry in some sense. Now, let's get back to what Mr. Stewart said over here. Do we have any more data from him? Yeah, that was basically it. He just says that, Ripple won. XRP is not a security, and they're working with the SEC to get this resolved. Now, let's talk about Judge Torres, because she is the one that's overseeing it. This is from Miss Ellie. And she reiterates essentially kind of what John Deaton is talking about. She says, after speaking with 3 legal sources and tuning into John Deaton's live analysis, my read is that Judge Torres is playing hardball here. She's not making it easy for the parties, Ripple and the SEC, to simply walk away. Instead, she'll make them work for it. So we all know that John Deaton represented about 75,000 XRP Army members globally. And we have a lot of got a lot of attorneys in the crypto industry that are chiming in, giving their expert opinion about it. So one of the things, before I finish going through this, one of the things that's kind of going through my mind is maybe that the SEC screwed up so royally in going after Ripple the way it did. And again, I understand that sometimes things happen when you're in a brand new industry and there's not really laws or regulations set properly. However, you have to have an open door policy to where you can come in and you can talk to make sure you're doing things correctly. SEC didn't do that for Ripple. So maybe Judge Torres is also making the SEC work at this, basically setting the precedent that if you're going to go after and sue somebody, you better have your T's crossed and your I's dotted. Because the SEC didn't do that. The SEC was kind of throwing darts. They were throwing darts and they were saying, you know what, we're going to go after you, and you. For what? We don't even know. Okay? Don't even know. Now, let's go ahead and go through some of this. So she says that she expects the SEC and Ripple to work hard to meet strict legal standards to withdraw her ruling. SEC spent 5 years on their strategy. Torres sees the withdrawal request as undermining that effort. And you know what? I can appreciate Judge Torres' respect for the law. I can appreciate it, even though I do not agree with what the SEC did. She denied the initial withdrawal request, but gave a clear path that both sides can prove it's in the public and XRP buyers' best interest. So she said, you know what? I'm going to withhold the law. We're going to create case precedent, but you need to show me by case procedure why your request is going to be in the public and XRP's buyers' best interest. So to me, that's fine. They're just going to have to work a little bit harder, but it's essentially done. Next, it's also uncertain if Torres will soften her stance after this collaboration or keep a firm possible political approach. So we're not exactly sure how when this is going to end. So I don't have any good news for you at the moment. I do have another story about Ripple for you guys, so stick around for that. Let's just do a quick market update. So if we do take a look at the daily, we're seeing a little bit of a drawback, all kinds of stuff, not super great. But if we take a look at the weekly, we're seeing things did okay. And there's some meme coins that perform better than others. Now let's go ahead and take a quick look at what's going on with some of our favorite coins, especially Bitcoin, because we got to see what's going on. So when we take a look at Bitcoin, this week, we've really just been teeter-tottering between $104,000 and about $102,000. I want to revert to my chart over here, just so we can see a little bit better, a little bit better. We are now trading above 102,000, which is an important area of support. Great, fine, fantastic. We've had a couple swing lows, not too terribly bad. We are in a little bit of overbought territory, but that's okay. So we have Bitcoin 2025 next week. We've got JD Vance speaking. We've got, probably some really great announcements. Consensus is going on. I'll make sure to give you guys an update on that next week. But what we're seeing right now is kind of standard price action on the daily. We take a look at the weekly, a little bit of bearish price action with that swing wick low all the way down. However, in order for us to get a green bullish candle, we need to close above 105,000. I don't necessarily see that happening this week. I could be wrong. I just want to see a bare minimum, a close above $102,000. We take a look at the 4-hour chart. We're just going sideways. As far as Ethereum goes, Ethereum's held up decent above the $2,500 area. Let's hope that we can sustain it. That area is important because of what the price action that happened on 3/2. So we'll hope we'll sustain over there. But again, if Bitcoin tanks, the rest of the market tanks. Taking a look at Solana peaked at 184, which is actually pretty nice because it marks a local bottom here in 2025. In this particular time period, and then back over here in December, and then the all-time high before we shot up to 264. This area over here, we broke out. So that's important, 185. And we're just kind of consolidating between about 164 and 184. SUI holding on okay to about $3.80 over here. XRP, let's see, did pretty well. We got up to 264. However, we're back testing the trend line over here. So I kind of need us to stay above 240, but again, we might not. And I'll actually redo this chart for you guys on Sunday. We'll get a little bit of a different picture. Taking a look at Chainlink hit a high of 1734. We weren't able to close above, and instead we're dropping down. Cardano, we actually have some pretty big Cardano news with Brave. I'll talk to you guys about that next week. Currently, so it looks like on a lot of these altcoin charts, we actually broke above and flipped resistance into support, and now we're back down to support. HBAR hit a high of 22 cents, and now we're trading back in this range between 20 cents and 17 cents, which is totally fine by me. Really, at the end of the day, for me, we could get a pretty big drawback to like $90,000. We could with Bitcoin, and then everything would tank, and then that would be good because then we can buy more. But realistically, if you want to buy more XRP, that is a personal choice for you. I support your decision, but I really do think XRP will perform incredibly well as time progresses. And I do believe that Mr. Dave Portnoy feels the same way. He was over in Consensus in Toronto, and he said, FOMO. It's not like I have some grand belief in it. It's what, $2, 40 cents. What if it's the next Bitcoin? And he's talking about XRP. Let's go ahead and listen to this clip of Mr. Dave.
I was trying to buy an apartment in Miami, and I got outbid by a crypto bro. And I'm just like, that bastard. He just bought, he heard about Bitcoin when it was, I don't know, $8, $7. It's up on 100. I've slaved for 20 years, and he just outbid. So yes, there's 100% of FOMO on everything. I think that's the meme coin. That's general. I mean, I don't know, Bitcoin. I don't know if there's as much FOMO now. It's so established, but like that's why I'm in XRP. Like that it's FOMO. It's not like I have some grand belief in it, but it's what, $2, 40 cents or something like that. It's like, what if that's the next Bitcoin?
Okay, so Dave Portnoy is bullish on XRP, and you know what? I agree with his stance here to an extent. So there's a lot of differences between XRP and Bitcoin. And yeah, you don't have to like the guy. He was a hot mess in the trenches. We're not going to get into that. But I will say that he does have a point. Is XRP going to be the next Bitcoin? 100%. It's not going to. Not going to. Bitcoin and XRP, they have different fundamentals and they both work differently. That's okay. And it's okay to actually diversify. I own both, and I like to own a lot of different assets because to me, it just makes sense. So with the way he's looking at it, he's looking at XRP like a retail investor. Most retail investors can't afford $2.40. Can a retail investor afford one Bitcoin at trading at about $100,000? In most cases, no. And that's okay because you can still buy a portion of a Bitcoin. Bitcoin to me is more like digital gold. XRP is more so for infrastructure for the banking system. So they're two completely separate things, but they both have valid utilities. So I like hedging, and I think it's a good idea, but that's just my personal opinion. So you guys do what makes sense to you. But we've got people like Dave Portnoy talking about what's going on with Ripple, and it's good. Now, really quickly, let's talk about this, because Ripple partners with WEIA and Mercy Corp to launch XRPL pilot that will help Colombian farmers access credit through blockchain power agriculture traceability. Bitcoin does. Can we build Bitcoin or build Bitcoin out to where we can facilitate things like this? Yes, but at the same time, Ripple was essentially built for banking, built for to uplift technology like this. So it'll allow Colombian farmers access credit through blockchain-powered agricultural traceability. XRPL power traceability tracks products from planting to harvesting via QR codes. And again, it's immutable, fast, low cost, etc. And they're using the term, quote, farm now, pay later, which allows input purchases with deferred payment post-harvest. And again, this is to improve livelihood, financial access, and sustainability and compliance. And the reason why this matters is farming is incredibly hard. Sometimes you're not able to get monetary resources to do it, and we all need food. So I think this is super awesome that Ripple is working on this as well. And again, they're a banker's coin, so that's what they're doing. Now, I want to show you guys really quickly, big shout out to Hedera. This was Mr. Kevin Leary. Sometimes he's a little bit crabby, but that's his character. But he went ahead to talk about HBAR on the stage at Consensus. Let's go ahead and hear his clip. I hold a big position in HBAR Hedera.
The majority of institutional capital waiting on the wings primarily is interested in Bitcoin. And if you ask a large institution after it's designated a commodity or security, they're going to put on a 1.5% weighting and they're going to start with Bitcoin. Now, what happens to the level 2s and everything else? I mean, I'm a big shareholder in HBAR. I'm optimistic about the volatility. It's crazy at the price. But I own a bunch of positions. Avalanche, ETH, like everybody else. But that's just diversification. But really, I think what will happen when the regulatory environment is clear and we have designation to security over commodity, the volume of capital that will come into the top 5 tokens is going to be, it's going to be like a vortex sucking cash out of the crap at the bottom.
I agree with him there. He's talking about the top cryptos, the ones that get approved for ETFs, the one that have valid technology, Hedera, AI, DeFi, RWAs. It makes just a lot of sense. Ripple's got kind of similar fundamentals, but again, projects that are focusing on those things, you guys should be paying attention on. Now, I want to get into JP Morgan. Out of all people, y'all remember when JP Morgan did not like crypto? You remember when JP Morgan just was like trashing crypto 24/7, 365? Well, guess what? They're here. They're here. They actually made the first public blockchain transaction, not private. So JP Morgan sees Bitcoin outpacing gold as crypto derivatives market expands. And you know what? I think so too. Allegedly, there was a story came out that said they were able to create gold in a lab, which makes it not scarce anymore. I digress. But basically they said gold, and this is JP Morgan, that the company that trashed Bitcoin. Bitcoin holds more upside than gold in 2025. It's boosted by corporate treasury adoption and favorable legislation. It's up 17% since mid-April, gold down 9% in the same period. And spot Bitcoin ETFs surpassed gold ETF inflows as of May. Gold below its April peak, and Bitcoin is trading near all-time high. And I agree with this report. I do. Also, two sources say that Goldman Sachs, the firm, is exploring the market interest in Bitcoin bonds. Why are they doing this? They are doing this because they want to make money like BlackRock and Strategy, etc. So this is from my buddy Andrew, and this is what he says. So if they're going to be talking about Bitcoin bonds, I'm going to have to do a little bit more research on that and figure out exactly what that means. Because again, this is all new stuff. We're learning about all these things together. Investopedia is a great resource. But anyways, you guys, I'm going to get going because I got a lot of catching up to do. I just got back from New Orleans and I got to run some errands, get things ready for dinner, get the house in order, do laundry. But again, thank you guys so much for being here. Make sure to smash a like. Congratulations to the XRP Army, and I will catch up with you guys a little bit later. I'm going to be dropping another video about Coinbase and how bad the hack was, because it's a lot worse. Not the drama, the Coinbase drama. It's a lot worse than they said it's going to be. Thank you so much for watching. Make sure to subscribe, set alerts, and smash the like. And shout out to our partners, Hedera, Market CIPHER, and Brave Browser. Bye-bye.